Because I'm so I scored some points. Let me tell you. Smart ass. I scored some points.
I put him out there just to make him look like there's treats because I brought nothing. I brought nothing. I was going to bring my balls all seared and fried.
Will you stop? Oh, you know, she's so mean to her husband. I told her, it scared me. I actually I have to get in the middle of that shit. Stop. Cheer, yeah. Well, you know what? They're not as good as the one I did. I think I did a better job.
I'm sure you did.
I know.
But I did white
Oh, did you use that whiteout stuff that you put on your neck?
No, I threw that one away.
Thank God. Trash. You gotta do it right.
That's true. Your toenails are still like that though.
Are you serious? Well, if it's not snowing this Sunday, I'll come over and take you out.
That'd be cool. I polished my hair like an hour ago.
Doesn't look it.
It doesn't?
It looks a little streaky, little blonde streaks.
Are they bad?
No.
I didn't see if I had
Soccer mom. It's like your soccer mom. Oh, by the way. I got cream.
Oh, good. Yeah. Then put it on my side.
Is it in my car?
Well, he left the beanie here too. I dropped my beanie in the towel the other night.
Tell me to get that bean back, man. Expensive
My
bean.
beanie in the bathroom the other night.
Some shit.
Good evening. First, we want to do a little warm-up exercise. So if you feel safe enough or brave enough, I would like you to go around from person to person and share, if I were a master communicator, how would my influence impact my relationships and my life? Got it?
Can you say it one more time?
If I were a master communicator, how would my influence impact my relationships and my life? Okay, ready? Chair, or everybody stand up and go? Go.
You going around? You're going to.
If I was a master communicator,
You would
go
be
if you want it.
Okay, if I was not, prime minister. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to say the same thing just because you did it. If I was a master communicator, it would influence my life, the people around me, even more comfortable with the relationship with, because I'm
I communicate pretty well, so I don't know. Maybe if I was a master communicator, I would know how to tone it down sometimes, so I wouldn't be so aggressive, sounding aggressive.
I like that.
Because usually it's not very aggressive.
Yeah. So if I was a master communicator, I would learn to
Be more assertive.
For me, it would be my shadow wouldn't show up in my presentations much.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you serious?
Like they're pretty good. And I was masturbating. I can't even say it. I would know that no matter what it is, I would Hi, Michael. I'm Sarah. No. You were better than us.
Yeah,
But we don't know what that's what you're trying to like narrow down to be like, with each person, that means if you're a master communicator, then you have mastered communicating with the host. Because everyone's
I would be so nervous. So like even like
I would never guess that.
that's how we should have done it.
Yeah, you are.
I would never. That's what I
Oh, yeah.
That's like,
There you go. So yeah, they're like really anxiety. Yeah, that's how be able to like be able to and when you meet different people, everyone like I said, like everyone be able to make the excel at meeting all
you'll be able to figure out their style of communication.
Thank you.
Hi, Sean. I'm Tara. Nice to meet you. This is my buddy. We're like kind of like traveling. We're in a pair. So, what was your understanding? Yes, he articulated it. He articulated what I was trying to say. So, right. I've been able to articulate and express myself all different things.
I don't want to get found out my brother Brian, my brother Brett, my brother Tony, and my sister Tina. I work with them all out at home. Right now I'm on
Right, right. Yeah, you don't know.
So if you were a master communicator,
Until it goes to stop.
around you can actually talk about anything, so say yeah, I'm going to have
You have that space
I'm guessing my boys might change.
That's just how I told you. Yes, it did.
Okay, you have kids and you think they're coming.
Yeah, that's just completely, you have no idea. That's just,
Oh, if I was not, I would know. I would know.
that's not what it's right. That's great. I was seeing a guy came over to me. You have no idea how bright. Are we immediately? A little. How about you? No, but when I'm like that, like, okay.
You're doing
I'll never.
Master Educator and have a badge.
No, when I read that.
Ain't coming to get it.
August 22. Oh, you like it? Yeah. I brought it on the corner. I was on the show, so he knew that I was there. He totally thought it was fake. I was like telling him
Did you eat the hedgehog with its head off? It's so disturbing. Hey, what's up? You're a disturbed person. There's really something wrong with you. You want to eat a hedgehog's head. She wants to rip the head off with the hedgehog. Look, she's doing it right now.
That's terrible.
You're perfect for phone buddies. She wants to look like a hedgehog. Eyes are done.
Thank you for that, and I would like to add another second part to the stand up and go from person to person and say, share what is the best thing that could happen this evening or weekend, and what is the worst thing that could happen this weekend. So, like, the best thing would be I could learn to deal with my teenager, and the worst thing could be I could say something really embarrassing and be humiliated. Okay? So, everybody stand up, go from person to person, and share what the best worst thing could be.
What's the best thing? You go for it.
that.
Oh, you're talking about the best thing that can happen is I can become a master communicator.
That's totally, that's awesome.
Damn. The worst thing that could happen is somebody loses.
Huh.
It's not selfish.
No, I don't know what the worst thing is.
Die. That's the worst thing that can happen this
Not
weekend.
dead on Earth. That's probably the worst thing.
Okay. But I don't think it's gonna happen. So James Bondage.
I just don't feel any like madness to it. The best thing is I can learn some skills to be fast as that. And you leave me hanging, your mic drop, and you walk away.
Tell me what you want to do. I gotta go around, man. I gotta go
Work the crowd, work the crowd.
I gotta go to the vibration. I'm gonna talk
Can I tell you?
I don't think it's
Sorry. What's the best thing you have to do?
I could become a master cleaner. That's the best. The worst thing that people can do. But I don't care. I can handle myself. If you're a girl, then I have to get
Okay, there's a couple things you need to do. First thing is silence your cell phone. Give you a couple minutes, silence your cell phones. This table up front has all the docs for the upcoming events, so please browse around there if you'd like to. And what I want to do is tell you a little bit about Gary. I met him about 30 years ago. Went to his office, first day client, and he was a master at helping me shift my perception so I could step out of my upset. So I want you to know that there's some really powerful magic that goes on in shifting your perception and being willing to see from a different vantage point. Here, Mr. Gary Acevedo. Well, while you're checking me out, I'll check you out. She's my thermometer. If she giggles, I know I'm doing good. What a cute audience. Okay, so I'm supposed to tell you a little bit about who I am. Basically, what I want you to know is for the last 40 plus years, I've immersed myself in over 30 different cutting edge transformational technologies. You know, if you studied anything in the field of psychology, you've probably heard of stuff like Gestalt therapy or primal therapy or transactional analysis or NLP or hypnosis, you know, all that stuff. I've immersed myself in it with some of the best people on the planet. And, you know, I've learned how to empower people, how to get people to show up and shine and be the gift they came to be. And, you know, even though I've had some success with showing people how to do things like increase their income significantly, you know, I've had network marketers go from, you know, $250,000 a year to 70, 80,000 a month. You know, millionaires go from $1 million a year to 7, 8 million a year. Those do not interest me as much as, like, my favorite success story is when Ron McMillan and Joseph Benny, who have a company called Vital Smarts, when they broke away from the Covey Leadership Center, they did my retreat called The Awakening. And they were so inspired by the last day that I do, which is all about what I call the greatest leverage for manifesting your vision, which is higher purpose. So up at The Awakening, at the retreat, we do a whole day on the art and science of how do you connect your daily activities to your higher purpose, your higher vision, because it's the greatest leverage. Well, Ron and Joseph were so impressed with that particular day that they went out after it was over, and they are now responsible for bringing 12 million people out of poverty through something called microloans, you know, giving people in third world countries $5 and $10 loans and realizing that they could actually bring their whole family out of poverty by buying their own supplies for the stools that they were making and, you know, not being indebted to the loan sharks, you know, all that stuff. So that really means a lot to me. And if you want to know more about some of my stuff or who I am, there's docs on the back of the table that, you know, give you some more details. At this stage, it's kind of boring to talk about myself. Let's see.
So, I want you to know that this is one of our introductory courses, even though there is some advanced material in it. And it's based, the introductory workshops are based on the one potato chip theory. We're hoping that we do such a good job this weekend that it's going to be a lot like somebody who gives you one potato chip. We're going to bet that you can't eat just one. That when it's over, you're going to want more. So all through this workshop, I'm going to be putting different things we do in front of you, and the two most important things I'll put in front of you will be the Movement to Mastery program, which is a long-term program, and a lot of people in this room are actually in that program now. And then I'm going to talk about the Awakening, which is the retreat that I do. They're both very different from each other. So I'm just letting you know that. Oh, Zen, let's get the video ready. Lie to me. Now, what I love about this particular course is that in the area of communication and relationships and influence and persuasion, I would guess that less than 1% of the population even knows that the tools that I'm going to give you this weekend even exist. Literally, the planet does not know what you're going to get this weekend. Don't have a clue. And you'll see that all through the weekend. So I'm excited about that. Raise your hand if you've never been in one of my workshops. Raise your hand. Good. So for those of you who, if you're a guest tonight, I just want you to know that if you decide sometime during the night that you would like to be here this weekend and do this particular course, it would behoove you to immediately, once you know that, go out and sign up, because the first couple of people who sign up are going to get this course for free. It's a $500 course. And then after that, we're going to give a couple of people it for $97, which is, again, a huge bargain. Okay? Okay. So, tonight, we're going to talk about how life works. We're going to talk about the beginning and the end of all upsets. We're going to talk about the power of dreams. We're going to give you a new paradigm for relationships. I love it when I ask, who knows what a paradigm is, and somebody goes, 2 dimes. At the end of the night, we'll finish it off with the greatest key to influence and give you a small taste of your true self. No, not that. Not my true self. Anything but that. So, in life, when people are successful or leaders, it's interesting because research basically shows that human beings, in essence, want 2 things. They want to be successful, have money, accomplish their goals, all that kind of stuff. Or they want to be happy, fulfilled, satisfied, etc., etc. Success in any arena always starts with a vision, a dream, an aspiration. And success always ends with results. So, by definition, a successful person or a leader is a maker of dreams. Someone with the capacity, the wherewithal, to bring into being, to create from nowhere, from nothing, those dreams, visions, and aspirations that mean the most to them. Now, The first key principle I wanna introduce you to is that when you're talking about happiness, you know, the only reason I don't really care for the word happiness is because it's vague. You say, what do you want? They go, I want to be happy. Well, okay, so, a year later, a few months later, are you happy? Well, I'm happier. I'm not happy enough to be happy, but you know what I mean? It's a little vague. I like the word satisfaction or fulfillment, okay? Now, the first thing I want you to get across is that the state of being satisfied or fulfilled or happy is a state of being. It's a state of being. In other words, imagine there's a light bulb over your heart, and that light bulb is either off or on in every right now. In other words, right now, right now, right now, right now, you're either happy or you ain't. There's not a dimmer switch. It's not like you're a little bit, it's like being a little bit pregnant. You can't be a little bit pregnant. You either pregnant or you ain't. That's how happy is. The state of being called happy is either off or it's on in every right now. In every right now, you're either complete or you're incomplete. You're either resolved or you're unresolved. You're either satisfied or unsatisfied. You're either finished or you're unfinished. Right now, right now, right now, right now. So I like to call it to play or not to play. That is the question. Because when you're in a state of love or play, you're in the magic theater. Your consciousness actually has two theaters going simultaneously 24/7. And both theaters playing 24/7 are there all the time, and you are the one who then goes to one theater or the next. If you're in the love and play theater, it's it's party time, it's singing, it's dancing, it's art, it's music, it's Beethoven or Linkin Park in the end, or whatever. Garrett really loves In the End lately. Every time I get in the car, he says, put on again. In the end. But when you're not in the love theater, in the play theater, you're in the fear theater, the fight or flight mind theater. Our little friend Wilbur here will now demonstrate. Shut up. Don't say that. Watch out. They're going to get you. Don't admit that you're wrong. Whatever you do, don't apologize or she'll win. If you admit that, you're going to die. Now, if you're in the love theater, you're happy, you're satisfied, you're singing and dancing. If you're in the fear theater, you're basically in a state that adults are really good at. Now, these kids in the room, they're not as good at it, but the adults are really good at it. You're in a state called going through the motions. Because you've been taught when you were very little that what's important is to be a good boy or a good girl and do what you're supposed to do and do what you should do and do what you ought to do. And because you're so now trained to be good boys and good girls, this is how you act in life a lot. Okay, I'll do it. Okay, I know, it's my job. I said I would do it. Okay. See, that's not choosing. That's called succumbing. Now, who can tell me Now, if you've been in my workshop before and you've heard this before, don't tell them. Let the new kids figure it out. Okay? So, how much of daily life would you guess the average human being spends in the love and play theater, the magic one, versus the fear-based, fight or flight mind, going through the motions, being a good boy or girl, and life sucks theater? How much of every day would you guess the average human being spends in this theater, in the fear-based theater? Raise your hand, I'll call on you. Take some guesses.
8 hours.
Give me a percentage, 1 to 100.
75%.
Good guess. Okay, somebody else?
95%.
Actually, it's 80 to 95%. That's the average. Because that theater, that fear-based voice that's telling you to shut up, watch out, shut down, don't express, don't come out, don't live it up, be careful, you're gonna make a mess, can't make a mistake. Whatever you do, don't make a mistake. Right? That's going 80 to 95% of every day. That's where you live. Now here's the good news. During this workshop, I'm going to teach you how to shift those numbers. I'm going to teach you that it is extremely available and very possible to spend that much time in that theater. You know how I know? Because you're looking at somebody who does that. I don't work anymore. I never work. I play. And I'm excited to share with you what I know about how to do that. So cute. Angela sent that thing on a. Did you send it to my Facebook or?
It was on Facebook, but I mentioned you as my mentor.
Yeah. And I loved it. What's his name?
It was about actually playing.
Yeah, but what's the actor's name? Zach or?
Oh, Galifianakis.
Yeah. It's a Greek name or whatever. And he basically said what I just told you. That life is not about effort, struggle, burden, stress, strain, push. It's about play. About learning how to play. How to follow your passion. How to do what makes your heart sing. How to honor your truth. So cute. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about honoring your truth, and I just want you to know, honoring your truth is the single greatest key to being either successful or happy. Is that seat in the middle taken?
No.
Oh, there's a seat over here if you want. Right here in the middle. Okay. No, I need you in the body of the group, sweetheart. Yeah.
Okay, come on over.
Sally? Good. Okay, you got it, Sam? Now, I'm going to show you a clip from a TV show called Lie to Me. It was on Netflix for a while. I don't know if it still is. But it's actually based on a true story on a scientist who studied what's called micro expressions. And he found out by watching people's facial expressions and their body and different things, he could tell when people were lying or not. So this is a scene where he's teaching the FBI how to do this. Now, the reason I'm going to show you this clip is because all through the night, I'm going to be demonstrating what I call the greatest key to influence. But I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. And at the end of the night, we'll see how many of you can actually pick out what I'm doing. And I just want you to know, if you have an interest in being a healer, a coach, a facilitator, therapist, that kind of stuff, somebody who changes people's life, would you do me a favor and just raise your hand? Oh, good crowd. Good crowd. Well, I just want you to know, all through this course, if that's one of your interests, I love to teach facilitators, trainers, speakers, coaches, people like that. So I'll be, mentioning some techniques. Matter of fact, maybe Friday morning for brunch or something, I'll do a little brunch at Village Inn, and I'll share with anybody who wants to do that some techniques, some advanced level techniques for those of you who want to be in front of the room and, good stuff with your crowd. Okay, so I'm going to show this clip as a way to show you that all through the night I'm going to be doing some things, and let's see if you can pick out what I'm doing. Okay, go ahead.
I instruct my client to remain silent. You're not gonna call. That's okay. That's okay. I don't have much faith in words myself. Statistically speaking, average person tells 3 lies per 10-minute conversation. And granted, it's just regular people. We haven't studied people who plan to firebomb a black church. Could skew differently.
We don't have time for this scientist to talk to the guy. We went at it for 4 hours, got nothing.
Now, the FBI knows you want mass casualties. Right now, ATF is searching every inch of the 2 largest black churches in the state. FBI got it wrong. Well, there's a shocker. Not one of those 2 churches.
Maybe you want
One of the smaller churches. One of the black suburbs.
You know what you're talking about.
Don't respond. What do you say ATF starts with Southbridge? Now, we're going to skip that one. We're going to focus on Lawton. You feel good about it?
that's it, Lawton. Going after a church in Lawton.
That accusation has no basis.
What do you mean? You just told me.
The ATF found a pipe bomb in a church basement in Lawton an hour later.
DOD friend
All
of
right.
mine this guy's a total nut job. He spent like 3 years in the African jungle with some primitive tribes studying their eyebrows.
What's his reaction to my statement?
Right now, ATF is searching every inch of the 2 largest black churches in the state.
Now, what you just saw there was a brief expression of happiness on his face, which he was trying his best to conceal. It lasted for less than a fifth of a second, as what we call a micro-expression. Now look at his mouth. The suspect is secretly happy about the locations we are searching, which tells me we have the wrong location. Now I tell him of our new plan, and
That's what you're talking about.
classic one-sided shrug. Translation, I have absolutely no confidence in what I just said. Body contradicts the words. He's lying.
When you accuse a suspect and he acts surprised, is there a way to tell if it's real or if he's just trying to look innocent?
Now that's real surprise. Lasts for less than a second when it comes to first face. If your suspect is surprised for more than a second, then he's faking it. He's lying. Now I call out his target is actually Lawton, and watch it again. Concealed scorn. One personal tip: you see this much expression in your spouse's face, your marriage is coming to an end.
Don't these micro expressions vary depending on the person?
Let's leave this up, and we'll go to the Cato Palin footage from the OJ trial.
You got a lot of money for your appearance on Current Affair, didn't you?
Scorn! Scorn. Huge scorn. Shame, shame, and shame. Contempt. These expressions are universal. Emotion looks the same whether you're a suburban housewife or a suicide bomber. The truth is written on all our faces.
So for all of you future facilitators or current facilitators, see if you can pick out what I'm doing all through the night in order to demonstrate the single greatest key to influence. Now, oh, I want to make sure and mention that in my workshops, nothing is more important to me than safety, especially subconscious safety. So, I want you to know that I don't want anybody in any of my workshops to feel like they are supposed to participate, okay? Nobody has to participate. You know, a lot of times in my more advanced workshops, I tell the Shire, like the retreat I do, I tell the Shire people, I say, look, don't pressure yourself to participate. Don't let yourself participate until it's too much fun not to participate. They'll get what I'm saying? So that works. So in a moment, if you're brave enough or safe enough, I want everybody who's been in any of my workshops before, I'm going to have everybody who's brave enough and safe enough to stand up. And I'm going to have the people who've been through my workshop before go to somebody who has not been in one of my workshops. You've never seen them in one of my workshops. And I want you to give them a higher self-acknowledgement. Just a very quick 30-second acknowledgement. Y'all get what I'm saying? Okay, stand up and do that. If you're brave enough and safe enough, stand up and somebody will come and acknowledge you. Go. Mary, you're not brave enough right now?
So the scientific is really big. Oh, sorry.
Tell me to do what? No, you're right. We're pretty close. Yeah.
Okay, wrap it up. Have a seat. Okay. How many of you would like to know, once and for all, how life works?
Yeah.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Get it up there, because I'm only going to teach the people to keep their hands up. Okay, for this one, boys and girls, you need pen and paper or pen and pencil. So logistics, if they don't have a pen and paper, I'm going to have them raise their hands. Let's make sure we get them pen and paper or pencil and paper. Okay? I'm going to have you drawing a chart. And remember, boys and girls, you will be graded on your artwork.
I'll help her do mine.
Okay, once you get paper and pen, I want you to, at the top of the page, put the title, How Life Works. You can print it so it looks really dramatic, you know? How life words. Now, underneath the title, you want to draw a big circle that takes up about a third or a fourth of the page. And inside the circle, you want to put the words, the dream, which is going to represent your visions, your aspirations, your missions, your purposes, all that stuff. Now, from the bottom of the circle to the bottom of the page, you want to draw two parallel lines like a path leading to your dream. Don't make the path too skinny. You don't want to fall off. Now on the left side of the path and on the right side of the path, you want to put the words pain, P-A-I-N. And underneath one of those words of pain, you want to put some other words so we know what we're talking about, like upsets, problems, dysfunctions, basically all the bad news. Obstacles, barriers. Underneath one of the words called pain, you want to put some other words like upsets, problems, obstacles, barriers, dysfunctions. Put the fun back in dysfunction. Once you have all that part down, you can just look at your chart. That's it. That's how life works. Extremely simple, but simple should never be misinterpreted as easy. It is simple, but not easy, rarely easy. So, for example, on Monday, you know what? I don't have a copy of my book up here, so would you have somebody go into my office and grab a copy underneath the desk? Okay. On Monday, if I'm living in the dream, my experience is that I'm moving toward the dream. I'm in the happy theater. I'm in satisfaction, fulfillment, joy, love, play, etc., etc. Okay? Right? But on Tuesday, something comes into my field of perception. My fight or flight mind perceives it as threatening or uncomfortable, and now I get scared and I react and I get away from the dream, and I'm now in the pain zone. Now, it turns out the reason I wrote the book is because there are 7 things that human beings do that keep them in the happy theater. One of them is called honoring your truth. The moment you perceive something scary, thank you. So this is a copy of the book, and it has the 7 things that human beings do that keep them in the happy theater, or how to get out of the fear-based theater into the love-based theater. So if I'm going along and suddenly something scares me, and instead of honoring my truth, I betray myself, I betray my truth, I don't do what I really want to do, or I get talked into doing something I don't really want to do, now I'm in the pain zone. Now I have an upset. It's really fascinating that human beings rarely look at where their upsets begin or end. Do you know that every upset in your life, and it doesn't matter who it's with or what it's about, every upset in your life begins at the same exact location. Every single time. And every upset ends at the same location. Every single time. Every upset begins at the instant of self-betrayal. The moment you don't say or do what you want to say or do. The moment you don't honor your truth. The moment you give in, go along with, swallow it, put up with it, ignore it, pretend it doesn't bother you when it does. You know, the moment you betray your truth, you now have an upset. Upset is like a very simple mechanism designed to tell you that you've given yourself away. Pain has a very simple message. When I put my hand in the fire and it hurts, pain says, go in a different direction. Now, if I leave my hand in the fire, for example, let's say I'm in a marriage that I know is a lie and I've known it for a long time, but I'm too scared to tell the truth. If I leave my hand in the fire, if I'm a smart man who is in a dumb job and I want to break away and start my own business, but it's too scary and that's a lie, if I leave my hand in the fire, what happens to the pain? It gets bigger. And eventually then I go through all kinds of fun stuff like anxiety and depression and, you know, eventually suicidal thoughts, you know, all kinds of fun stuff. Now, when does every upset end? At the moment I make a commitment to honor my truth. Like, to honor my truth, I may have to have a conversation with somebody. But I'm not going to see them for a week or a few days or whatever. But the moment I make a commitment to honor my truth, I make a commitment that I'm going to have that conversation, I'm not upset anymore. I am resolved. I am complete. I am satisfied. I can see from your cute little faces that I've thrown a lot at you. And you need to grab a partner and pair up and share whatever thoughts or feelings you're having about what I've just said. Go ahead, do that now. Go. When?
Well, once I make a commitment,
Yeah, I'll go here. It's not going on. John
Okay, wrap it up. Now the next principle I share with you, you might want to tattoo on your forehead.
Can be somewhere else.
Until you stop putting up with what you're currently putting up with, you cannot rise to higher ground. Where what you truly want is waiting for you on a silver platter. I'll say it again, since it went over your heads. Until you stop putting up with what you are currently putting up with, you cannot rise to higher ground, where what you truly want is waiting for you. That begs the question, what am I putting up with lately? Go ahead and quickly just write down 3 things that you're currently putting up with. You know, pick a card, any card. Now, it's interesting because if you look at your chart that you made with the dream and the pain, Derek, gotta have you settle down, buddy. Even the world's most beautiful boy has to settle down sometimes. Now, people rarely look and discover when lessons show up or blessings show up, when a train wreck hits them in the face, or when they get exceedingly good news, which I call lessons and blessings. Now, look at your chart that you just drew with the pain and the dream and ask yourself, when is it in my life that I'm most likely to attract good news, blessings? Looking at that chart, when is it?
When I'm on the path of happiness.
When I'm on the path. Brilliant. When am I most likely to attract lessons?
When I make stupid choices.
When I'm off path. You know, at this stage of my career, I can listen to people tell me about their next project that they're excited about, right? And it's fairly obvious to me whether they're headed for good news, blessings, or lessons by just listening. And I teach my facilitators how to do this. Because if you learn how to listen, you can tell. I'll tell you one story that demonstrates the point. I like this story. I had a guy that came in and he was great. I said, you know, why'd you come in? He said, well, because I've been noticing lately that I'm just having some suicidal type thoughts. I said, okay, tell me what's going on. And he said, he started describing what was going on in his life. And basically, and by the way, he's given me permission to share this, so just so you know. So he had a pattern of borrowing from Peter to pay Paul in order to keep women in his life that he felt like he really loved. He was bartering for affection, right? So he had got this great big deal where somebody was going to buy this, like, you know, a whole bunch of this product. And so he bought the product and then the person changed their mind and didn't want to buy it. So he's stuck with this warehouse full of stuff that he can't get rid of, and no one's he hasn't had a sale on this stuff for like, 7, 8 months or something. So he's pretty down, pretty depressed. And I remember I said to him, I said, look, in this first session, if we can get you to identify where your soul is not honoring your truth, where you are selling out, and if we can get you to make a correction, then 2 things will happen by the time this session is over. 1, you're going to feel a lot better. Number 2, this week you're going to get a blessing. Now, how would I know that? Look at your chart. When are the blessings going to show up? When you're living your truth and you're on the path. So I know that. So we basically identified his pattern and we got him to make a correction, and he realized he didn't really have to barter for affection. He was willing to make the correction, right? So the next week he comes in, he sits down, he's like, hey, this product that hasn't sold anything for 8 months or whatever, I had 3 big sales on this product this week. He goes, you told me I was going to get a blessing. How did you know? And I got to smile and look at him and say, because that's how life works. Are you on path? Are you honoring your truth? Or does life need to hit you with a few more 2x4s so the pain gets 1 ounce bigger than the fear, and you actually can be brave enough to actually honor your truth? It took me years to get that laugh down. Now, probably shouldn't say this because it's a little more advanced, but for those of you who are advanced, I'll say it anyway. You can, if you don't get it, just sit with it for a while. It'll come to you someday. Ultimately, all problems in your life are self-created balls and chains that you put there so that they could keep you from moving toward the dream. People think the big fear is fear of failure. Let me tell you, compared to the fear of success, fear of failure is a wussy. What people are really scared of is success. All problems are self-created balls and chains. That way you have a good reason. I would move toward the dream. I really would. I would. But see, I've got this problem. And it's holding me down and it won't let me go. And if that problem goes away, I got to... There's another problem. See, there's another problem. There it is. It's always something. Rosanna, Dana was right. It's always something. So if you look at your chart, you can see that life is a pleasure-pain system designed to guide you towards your dreams. Now, if I go to AT&T or some of the Fortune 500 companies, I can't talk about spiritual stuff. But because you're in my public workshop, and I don't care if I talk about spiritual stuff, for you, I want you to know that I'm going to do that from time to time. But for those of you who are atheists or agnostic, just know that I completely honor your beliefs. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. You know, it's just one guy's point of view, okay? So for those of you who have a spiritual bent, what I want you to know is that life is a pleasure-pain system designed to guide you to the light. I'll read you a quote from the book. What is God's will? Pain is God's gift to support us in choosing to be true to ourselves, to honor our truth, to be authentic, to stay on path with our dream, and to know joy and peace and fulfillment. And this is God's will. Pain is God's gift to support us in choosing God's will. Oh, I can see it's time for you to share again. Get a partner and share any thoughts or feelings. Go.
So we both get towards the light. Pain is God's will to get us towards choosing.
Pain is God's gift to support us in choosing God's will.
I know. I feel like
How easy to put it on and it shows us.
Like something
Anybody have any questions before I show you the video clip? Okay. So this video clip, one of our favorites, comes from a movie called Defending Your Life. The guy gets in an auto accident, he dies, and he goes someplace, but he doesn't know where he is. And the guy that's kind of like his lawyer or defender is going to explain to him how the universe works. Okay? Go ahead.
Daniel, Bob Diamond. Hi. Come on in. How are you? Sit down, my friend. What are you looking at? What's wrong? You look good in that tupa. Some people don't, but you do. It's flattering. Thanks. So, is this what you thought it would be? Thought what would be? Where am I? Is this heaven? No, it isn't heaven. Is it hell? No, it isn't hell either. Actually, there is no hell. Although I hear Los Angeles is getting pretty close. Well, Daniel, let me tell you what's going on. When you're born into this universe, you're in it for a long, long time. You have many different lifetimes. And after each lifetime, there's an examining period, which you're in now. You see, every second of every lifetime is always recorded. And as each one ends, we sort of look at it. Look at a few of the days, examine it. And then if everybody agrees, you move forward.
What do you mean move forward?
I mean, move forward, continue onward. The point of this whole thing is to keep getting smarter, to keep growing, to use as much of your brain as possible. For example, I use 48% of my brain. You know how much you use?
47?
3. 3. That's 3% of my brain? Yes, don't worry about it. Everybody on Earth uses 3% of their brain. 3 to 5%. That's why they're there.
3%? 3%? You mean nobody on Earth uses more than that?
When you use more than 5% of your brain, you don't want to be on Earth, believe me. Well, not that your takeout places aren't lovely, but there are many more exciting destinations for smarter people. Now, being from Earth as you are and using as little of your brain as you do, your life has pretty much been devoted to dealing with fear.
It has?
Well, everybody on Earth deals with fear. That's what little brains do.
What are little brains?
That's what we call you folks behind your back. Forgive me.
Who are you?
Well, I'm just like you. I was on Earth a long time ago. But I advanced. I moved forward. I got over my fears, and I got smarter. Did you have friends whose stomachs hurt?
Every one of them.
It's fear. Fear is like a giant fog. It sits on your brain and blocks everything. Real feelings, true happiness, real joy. They can't get through that fog. But you lift it, and buddy, you're in for the ride of your life.
My 3% is swimming.
Lights?
What movie was that?
It's called Defending Your Life. It was the guy in the movie is the one who wrote it and directed it. Albert Brooks. He's a famous comedian. The funniest part is, him and Meryl Streep kind of have a connection, and they decide to go to the Past Lives Pavilion. And this was right after Shirley MacLaine started getting a lot of attention because she was talking about stuff like people who could channel and all the stuff that back then everybody thought was incredibly weird. So when they go to the Past Life Pavilion, Shirley MacLaine is the MC for and the whole audience just cracked up. Okay, now I'm going to give you one of the principles from the book called True Living is Living in the Dream. When I first learned this principle, every year for 1 week, I wanted to test it so I would see if in every right now that I would do what I was doing by experientially connecting it to my dream. In other words, if I was sweeping the floor, if I was washing the dishes or having a conversation with my son or whatever, I wanted to see if I did that thing as if my dream depended on it. Was I actually happy? And it proved itself every time, and every year that week would blow my mind. I couldn't believe every single moment that I did the dishes or swept the floor or whatever as if my dream depended on it, that I experientially connected what I was doing to my dream or vision. I was in the happy zone. That was my state of being. It blew my mind. Now, I'll give you my favorite example. Many years ago, I went over to a friend's house who was working with me on a project. We were going to work on her computer. And it was a big project, so we knew it would take hours. So we were in her kitchen and we're working on the computer. But I looked out the window and her daughter, which was probably about, 6 or 7, maybe 8 years old, is in the backyard. And she's got a hammer and some nails and some boards, but I can't tell what she's building. But the reason I did a double take, I looked at it, was because her face was so lit up. I mean, she looked like she had died, gone to heaven, and was looking at angels. She was like lit up, right? And I couldn't stop looking out the window, like, what is she so happy about, right? So eventually she comes in. I said, Tara, what are you doing? And she went, I'm building a fort. And then she ran in her bedroom, got something, and she went back out. She's for hours again. Getting a little dream from my phone. So I thought about this, and I thought, let's look at this from a mature, dignified point of view. What is she doing? She's got a nail and a hammer, and she's hitting a nail with a hammer. And she's hitting a nail with a hammer. And she's hitting a nail with a hammer. I know people in construction who hit nails with a hammer for a living, and they make decent money, and they don't look like they just saw the angels. Why? Because they hit nails with a hammer. She was building a fort. And if you were to look at her pictures or her thoughts or her feelings, you would see incredible visions she has about her friends are going to come over, and she's saying to herself, and I'm going to be the princess. And what I mean? She is living in the dream. So the first big question is, what is your dream? In your love life, what is your dream? With your money, what is your dream? As a parent, what is your dream? Because you can spend your whole life doing 80 to 95% of going through the motions, and life sucks because all you're doing is being a good boy, a good girl, or you could live in the dream. You could reverse those numbers and spend that much time in the play zone, living in the dream. So, do me a favor and get me a copy of the handouts. Okay, so I have a copy that matches their copy. Okay. In your handouts is a page that says my dreams, visions, and aspirations. Now, you're not going to fill that out. You're just going to decide which of those categories you're going to do the exercise on. Is it going to be money or love life or parenting or whatever, okay? Now, again, I want to remind you that nobody in my workshops has to participate. If you're brave enough and safe enough, I'm going to have you do an exercise. In a moment, I'm going to have you stand up with one partner. You don't do it in threes or fours. You do it one-on-one, okay? I'm going to have you stand up. You can spread around the room, get anywhere in the room, and one at a time, not back and forth. First person is going to go until I ring the bell, then the second person will go. You're going to pick one of those categories, and you're going to talk about your dream, only I'm going to have you do it. Those aren't handouts. Oh. Those are for people who want to do Movement to Mastery. We need a couple of handouts here. If you don't have a handout, raise your hand and somebody will bring one to you. It's like we got a half a dozen. So what's going to happen is you're going to share your dream or your vision. Only I'm going to have you do it in a special way. We need to print some. Okay? Good. They're going to print some, so don't worry, they'll get it in a moment. Matter of fact, let's do me a favor. Let's have everybody who's got one give it to somebody who doesn't, so that you can pair up with each other. Like one person can share the handout until they get it.
I'm not giving up. It ain't happening. I do this
Okay, let me say it again so you're all perfectly clear. In a moment, if you're brave enough and safe enough, you're going to stand up with a partner, you're going to stand somewhere in the room, and one of you is going to talk about their dream or vision, whether it's love, life, or money, or whatever. Only I'm going to have you do it in a very special way. I'm going to have you imagine it's 5+ years in the future, and guess what? The dream you're talking about, it actually happened. And it even happened better than you were hoping for. Right? Yes. Better than you were hoping for. And you're going to talk about it in the now. You're not going to say it's going to be or it will be. You're going to say, today, let me tell you about my money. I'm in Hawaii and I'm at this fancy hotel. You know what I mean? You're going to talk about it like it's happening right now. Y'all get what I'm saying? Now, for those of you who are a little bit more advanced, on page 2 of your handouts, there are some questions that you can ask the person that will help them to create this experience as a direct experience. Highlights of the Genie Game making an experience. For example, let's say that I'm pairing up with Nico. She's talking about her dream in the now, and I can tell that she gets just a little slightly bit touched or moved or inspired. That's my cue to ask her questions like, okay, Nico, close your eyes and find the feeling someplace in your body. And she'll go, it's right here. So she puts her hand there. It could be anywhere. It could be here, wherever, okay? Put your hand on her body. I say, good, now, what color is that feeling? She'll say, oh, it's orange. Great, terrific. And then I'll ask her the other questions, okay? So those questions are what you can ask your partner if you want to try a more advanced version. Now, I want you to know that everybody who's in this workshop this weekend is going to have an opportunity to do this exercise with myself or my sister or one of the facilitators for up to 2 hours. And the reason why we make this available to you, like in a moment, I'm going to have you guys do it for 7 minutes each. And some of you will have a lovely experience. The reason why I created this, which is called the Genie Game, is because I discovered decades ago that in the physical realm, until you hold your dream or your vision as a direct experience, in the physical realm, it literally cannot manifest. If you hold your dream or vision as a good idea, literally in the physical realm, it will never manifest, ever. It has to be a direct experience. And this Genie Game is designed to help you create that dream or vision and hold it as an experience. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a hint for those of you who, like I said, are a little more advanced, or you want to take it deeper. The trick is when you're talking about your dream or vision, be specific. Talk about it so specifically that you can taste the strawberries. You know what I mean? The more specific you get, you're going to go from your head to your heart. So be specific. Okay? Any questions before I let you go?
So we're just picking one category?
One category. Because you're only going to have 7 minutes, so it can be either money or love or whatever. Okay? But you got to have one thing. Talk about it like it's 5+ years in the future. It's happening now, today. This is what I'm going through now. And then if you get to a place where you feel touched or moved, your partner's going to ask you some questions. Other than that, your partner's not going to say a word. This is not a discussion. This is for the person who's talking to have an experience. Okay? Great. Everybody with me? Okay. Get your partner and spread around the room and let the first partner begin.
All right. We'll set up corners.
would encourage that, but if it's too late right now, do it after those. If you're in movement to mastery, you might want to grab somebody who's a new kid to help them. Just so you all know, it works better if you're standing up. You want to stand up. Your brain will access information differently if you're standing up.
7 people don't count.
Remember not to switch partners until I ring the bell. The same person keeps talking. Don't switch partners until I ring the bell. Same person keeps talking.
So my dream. So it's super environment. Construction to the floor. So people who see our that's part of it. Like we do, like we put different they've been here, they're here all the time. There's so many of them. So it's really cool. So that's so, and even though so that's where there's the And the person basically but more how they have their and people that are so great at game, no, not such. It's more like because so like there's the yoga studio and then there's another so we have nutrition now, real and like fund the community and for you know, where we yeah, and do natural was never very and that and then I the most every person while you were thinking about it, like I actually started doing that. So yeah, so especially the
Okay, wrap it up and let the other person share their dream.
I know.
Let the other person share about their dream now.
Whenever you see it where you want it, well, I want her to
Oh my goodness. I'm 43 this year. But I see her as strong. I probably don't have whatever. But I see it all these right Oh my God, such a great day. Hi.
Usually you're still really you're strong now and it's strong.
I know. It's juicy. I get it juicy. Right? I've not had tiny victories. Now I still like it. I don't have time for us because I'm out there saving lives. That's what everything's so intense. In the hospital, like, I don't I love my garden and I love my greenhouse.
Okay, acknowledge your partner. Come and have a seat. Come and sit down.
I had Sean, he's a cool card. He's mad. I don't know. He's just way the other way, Sean.
Have a seat. Have a seat. Okay, I'll take a share or two, and I only want to hear people who had a very positive experience. If you felt like you got stuck or whatever, you can talk to us on the sidelines, but for now, I want to hear anybody who had a positive experience. So raise your hand, I'll take a couple of shares. Nico?
Well, my sweet partner was so much fun. She just created her entire vision as the most, she just kept on going and going, but it was so specific. Greenhouse and super hot husband, and just like she was just the energy and vibe from the city. It had to be a little bit farther away in the country, but still easy enough to get to places. I'm like, oh my gosh, I still want to come and visit. No, wait a second, I want that too. She was so specific. It was just awesome.
Beautiful.
Just
Thank
see.
you. Acknowledge. Who else? Raise your hand, I'll call on you. Okay, Elisa?
I noticed there was like a little bit of an energetic pull between how I know things to be and what I was creating. But I could feel like my intention winning out.
Yeah.
Especially as I went into color and experience, and it was like the present moment was saying, oh, okay, that's what you want. Oh, all right.
Beautiful. Good job. Acknowledge. Anybody else? Okay, Jeff?
It's amazing how when you start to get into the dream, all of a sudden your facial expressions change. You start to smile. There's this energy that comes and it starts to flow. And it was amazing when Allie was sharing her dream. It was like opening my eyes to how I could dream bigger. And it just, snowballed and kept going, and by the end of it, we're just all smiles and we're ready to hop into our dream.
Oh, that's amazing, for sure.
Beautiful. Acknowledge. Yeah, it's interesting, when I teach facilitators, trainers, people like that, the main thing that I try to show them is that the greatest tool that any presenter has at their disposal is what I call the space of a room. That invisible emotional atmosphere that fills a room that gets people inspired, touched, moved, etc. And it's all about vibration and energy. Actually, everything in life is about vibration and energy. Thank you. Acknowledge. One more share. Emily.
Oh, you want to go?
No, go ahead, Emily.
So this is my third time through this course, and what I want to say is the first few times, like, I didn't really have a very clear vision of what I was going for, and this time I was still like, I don't know where to focus, and I'm like, oh, duh, yeah, I do. Like, I have this dream of this wellness center, and since doing this work, it is just becoming more and more and more clear, and it's so real. I've had such real visions of it that I know it's happening. I know it's already in the works. I know there's already other people out there that are dreaming the same dream, and we're going to come together. And it was just really cool to just be like, I'm so clear.
Way to go. Acknowledge. Yeah, I really enjoy doing the Genie Games with people, and the reason why Lori and I offer for up to 2 hours is because I know that if they're lucky enough to actually have a direct experience of that dream and vision, that is literally the day that dream begins to unfold. Way to go. Okay, I'm going to give you a break now. For those of you who are a guest tonight, just for tonight, you haven't signed up for the workshop yet, remember that if you decide over the break or sometime tonight that you want to be here this weekend, remember that the first 2 people are going to get this $500 course for free. And the next 2 people are going to get it for $97. Okay? So if that's you, make sure you sign up over the break. Okay? And if you haven't cleared with me, if you're already registered in the course, but you haven't cleared with me to miss any part of the course, just know that you need to go back to the person who has the logistics name tag on and let them know when you cannot be here, like you absolutely have to be at your sister's wedding or whatever. You know what I mean? So that they can let you know how to get the link and you can watch the part you missed on video. Okay? That's the only way I can really clear you, is to make sure that you get the information. Okay? Great. Okay, take a 15-minute break. Go.
If you haven't registered, then you need to come see me. Register!
Are you doing the whole course?
Shelley, make sure you know who needs to.
I don't know.
You need to find out. So talk to Alice, and I don't care what happens. Nobody can video this course.
Alice is gonna get me a laptop.
She's like 30 years old with this little teeny body. You're just like so gorgeous. You're really 12 years old, right?
How many minutes is the break?
What?
15. Whose time? Okay. It started at 8:15, so it's about 8:15. Michelle has it.
No, you weren't. It was awesome. No, you're good. Okay, no, you're good.
My big mama phone buddy, she's my phone buddy. I know, and I put him in and I.
Yeah, yeah. And I did it while he was at work, and since Cyrus was making
It is such fun. I need a laptop. I have a laptop, it's great. Michelle's sitting down.
She does.
Put her email.
In 1 minute.
Oh, Sean, Emmy was looking for you.
We're gonna play that video.
Lady? That's me. Go. I was moved by one, sure. Yeah. You're welcome. I know you said it, telepathic. Telepathic. Try one? Laura, now, this is like being oh, yeah, I don't like certain types of much stuff. Hey, Dave!
Oh, are you good? Okay, good. I just did 10 minutes. Can someone talk to you about their, tell me about being absent on Saturday. That's
I don't think I do this. Come on, you're in. You're in.
Yeah, I did it really. I'm talking about you. Here, share. This is good.
Yep. I'll take them back. But I won't. How much money? How much money?
Well, I'm on a course of studies and everything. Oh, is that true?
I had to go twice like that.
Oh, sorry. I just had a big moment there.
I know you're trying to get inside stuff.
I know, and they come and say,
Sarah's right here. She went that way. She went that way.
oh, this is what he was talking about. You got it,
I was in language.
No, it's another series of workshops.
Story really about more landmarks. Sorry. I feel like 2 minutes.
Derek?
Five minutes. She said,
We're working together right now. You know, he's like James Bond, and I'm like a cowboy. James Bond. James Bondage. James Bondage. Not just Dave Jones, James Bond.
That escalated quickly.
that's what happens when you're
Next time, when you guys break, I gotta show you back that. The Valentine's Day. This guy's married, and he's got a bunch of kids. This guy, they have this always, and he wears a bat. And he talks like that, man. But it's fucking hysterical. It's like, put the kids to bed. How long you say put the kids to bed? Because you know I want to have. She keeps going on about harassing his wife. It's freaking hysterical.
Okay. Hey,
I want that puppy. He's a cute puppy. Good puppy.
Time.
Time.
Have a seat.
My boy.
Okay, now I'm going to give you a new paradigm for relationships. Now, I want to acknowledge Werner Erhard, who was the founder of Aspen, the forum, as the source of this first bit of material that I'm going to do. I liked it when he read out of the dictionary the definition of relationships, which one of the definitions is an understanding and being aware of another person's way of being. Now, what's interesting about that is if that's what you have, by definition, it works. If you have an understanding and a being aware of the other person's way of being. Trouble is most people don't have a relationship. They might have something like an involvement to make tangled or intricate, complicated, to entangle and trouble, difficulty, danger, to implicate, to draw or withhold within itself, to make busy, employ, occupy. Or they might have an entanglement, to involve as in a tangle, to catch as in a net, bind, etc., so that escape is difficult. See, if that's what you got to stop calling that a relationship. Now, on page 4 of your handouts is something called creating a conscious relationship, creating the 4 stages, and I'm going to go through them briefly. Now, it's really interesting because when you're single and you're looking for Mr. or Miss Right, you know, you might go to a dance or something. There could even be up to 1,000 people in one room, and you're scoping everybody who's a possibility out, and consciously you believe that you're looking for people who are attractive or interesting, you know what I mean? Consciously. But subconsciously, you're actually thinking of a whole different set of criteria. For example, you might see somebody who's very attractive, very interesting, and your friends, if you take them on a few dates, and your friends will say, "Oh, they're perfect for you," and you say things like, "Well, there's just no magic. I don't know. It's just no magic. And then you meet somebody who's not very interesting, not very attractive, and there's like this magic there. And your heart goes pitter patter, and you're not sure why. It's because on a subconscious level, what you're looking for as you look at all the people in this room, looking to see, you look at somebody and go, let's see, between my mom and my dad, my mom was the one who really pushed my emotional buttons the most. Mom was the one who drove me nuts. So let me see, do you remind me of mom? No, not really, not really, not really. And then you go, Mom! Woo! She could push my buttons. She could drive me nuts. There were birds in the sky. You know, I'm in love. I know from the giggle I'm doing it. Why are you most attracted to certain people? Because they subconsciously remind you of whichever parent you had the most trouble with. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but don't look at me that way. I just work here. I'm not kidding. You know, most decent therapists can do this, but you know, it takes me all of like 10 minutes when a couple comes into my office for the first time to see how she is perfectly designed to push his emotional buttons. And he is perfectly designed to push his emotional buttons. I mean, the fit is absolutely perfect. Matter of fact, because I've been doing this for so long, I have couples who, you know, saw me like, 25 years ago. And then 20 years ago, they got divorced, and she met somebody who's great, and she was really in love, and she drags him into my office. And so now in the first round, she had an issue, let's say it was like here, and then she did some really good work, and then she got it down to here. So guess where the new man is that she meets? Exactly the same as where she is now. Now, 5 years later, she comes back into my office and she got that issue down to here. So guess where the new man is now? Exactly, because it's a closed system. All you can ever attract is whatever human beings will perfectly push your emotional buttons.
Yay.
Now, why is that? Why, when we're out looking for Mr. and Miss Right, do we, most attract the person who's most likely going to drive us nuts? I mean, we're not talking, a little nuts. We're talking industrial strength, drive me nuts, right? Why is that? Why are we masochists? What? Why do we want to attract those people to us?
The university is kind.
We like
conflict.
To resolve issues.
Allie.
So we can heal those wounds of our subconscious.
Yeah, so we can heal and rise to higher ground. Life and the universe knows that the best way to heal is to keep putting in your face those things that you have not healed yet. And you know what? The universe is very kind. Don't worry. If you don't learn the lesson with this spouse or partner, if you don't learn the lesson with this teenager, if you don't learn the lesson with this boss, no worry. The universe is so kind. It will make sure you get that thing again and again and again and again until you either learn the lesson or die, whichever comes first. So, now we go to stage 2. attempting to get through. So let's say actually this is kind of rare. Most people get married for the wrong reasons, but let's say you meet somebody and you have one of those rare relationships where you're actually in love. 5% of the people actually marry because they're in love. Amazing. It's a miracle. Now, for the first, few months, it's wonderful. You're bouncing, everything's great. Isn't life great, right? And it's like, I love you. I love you too, right? Well, after a few months, a year tops, right? You just have to notice there's one or two little things that, kind of bug me. And very quickly you notice that you have a bit of a list, And because human beings are not very good at expressing what doesn't work, they only use the two things that they learned from their parents. When they have an upset, when they have a problem, when there's an obstacle, when their partner is doing something that doesn't work for them, they use the two things that they learned from mom and dad. They either get passive, which is swallow it, ignore it, pretend it doesn't bug me, eat it, give in, go along with, tolerate it, put up with it, right? Or they do that one last thing that takes them over the edge, and then they get aggressive. They blame them, they shame them, they attack, they criticize, they fault them, you know what I mean? That one thing that just drives them nuts, and finally it's like, you know what, I've had enough. And they go into the closet and they get this big bat called truth. I'm going to tell them the truth. I don't know why you don't hear this. I've been telling you this for years. Any idiot would get this. What's wrong with you? How come you never? And they wonder why their partner doesn't get it. Now, on stage 2, who can tell me which bullet represents the principle which is the main reason why most human beings you'll ever meet will never get to stage 3, where they actually get through to their partner? Which bullet is the reason why most couples will never get there?
5.
What's the first line of it?
All perception is projection.
All perception is projection. In other words, everything you ever see, every dog, every tree, every sky, go through the filter of your experience. So it's impossible for you to see a dog or a tree or a sky or a person without all of those things being either mom or dad, because they were the original fundamental relationship. So when you're out looking for Mr. or Miss Right, or you find someone and you really are in love for a while, and then they start to irritate you, you notice that if you really look closely, you'll notice that whenever you open your mouth, it looks like you're talking to them, but guess who you're actually talking to? Whoa. You can while I'm talking, you can all do this for yourself. On a piece of paper, write down people that you admire, the best people you've ever met, and just put, 5 to 10 adjectives on that column. And then on the other column, on the other part of the page, put a name of somebody, not in this room, nobody in this room, somebody who just drives you nuts. Like when they walk in the room, something in you wants to gag, right? And then write down the adjectives for that person.
someone you love and then somebody
that you want to gag. And you just got to know, gang, that on both columns, every single adjective that you are writing down is you. Emily.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I actually really
Hold on,
had an
Azam,
aha.
Alice, you guys.
I had a huge aha last week about mirrors. I really, really understood it. But what always throws me off, so I had this friend, and like, she was super dishonest to the point that she found a credit card and
Yeah, very dishonest.
yeah, and like, and I'm not. Like, I would never steal. I would never cheat. So why? No, I really wouldn't. I don't steal. I don't cheat.
Surprise! 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 This is such a great example. I can't tell you how grateful I am that you shared this. Okay.
Okay, because
Now-
because that's where I really don't get it. Because like, I haven't stolen since I was 5. So why does that bother me so bad?
Okay. So tell me where it is in your life that you are dishonest.
Not very many places.
Well, tell me where they
can't
are.
tell you where.
Yeah, you can.
I'm not.
Yeah, you can.
I really am pretty honest.
No, honey, if you weren't dishonest, like every other human being in this room, if you told the truth, you would disappear. You would take your physical body into the infinities. You're not there yet, believe me.
I can't tell you where I'm dishonest.
Yes, you can. You're fooling
My
yourself.
mom is a teen.
when you weren't sick?
Honey,
I don't work.
you've told a dozen lies today. Like every human being in this room. More like 3 dozen, but we'll keep it small.
Isn't it possible though, like say for something like child abuse? So that is something that really bothers
Look.
me. I'm not an abuser of children, but I think sometimes it's a reminder to me of what I stand for.
Look, if you
It
look
doesn't
at
have to be a reflection.
No.
a reminder.
If you had experience with someone who physically or sexually abused you, okay, and let's say I took an alcoholic and put him up here. I said,
Yeah.
okay, now write down all the adjectives. What is an alcoholic?
Yeah.
I'd have 50 different adjectives. One person would say they're weak. One person would say they're stupid. One person would say they're ill, whatever. Your perception cannot go beyond your own experience. So however you paint the alcoholic or the abuser, whatever adjectives you use is you. So does every human being in this room get abusive from time to time? Absolutely. Is there anybody in this human being that doesn't at times step over their boundary and emotionally attack somebody? Everybody does. So if the word you use is abuser, that means you've got an issue with people who abuse people. That means at times, well, you'll pretend like you're the person who's the least abusive of any human being on the planet, because that's a button for you. Like if my dad was the laziest person, and I hate lazy, I'll come across like I'm the world's most industrious human being. I never get lazy. But once or twice a year, I see myself get lazy. And you can bet your bottom dollar that I will beat myself to a pulp if I see myself getting lazy. Or abusive, or dishonest, or whatever. Okay? So, Emily, if you're not dishonest, you are literally the only human being on the planet today, besides Mother Mira, Sai Baba's already dead, a few saints and gurus who are beyond that. But you are not, believe me. Now, if you give that a possibility, you would be very wise to actually make a list of all the places in your life where you are dishonest. Heck, I've seen you do it at dinner when you go out with us to Applebee's or whatever.
Next time, let me know.
I will. I'll signal you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Do.
Acknowledge.
Because I'd like the awareness.
I got it. So understand, guys, this isn't meant to irritate you or upset you. This is meant for you to get some leverage and some power. Because the reason why most human beings you meet today will never have a stage 3 relationship which is a conscious relationship, one that most people will never dream of. But if you're interested in having a level of intimacy, look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I swear to God, 95% of you are literally not capable of having an intimate relationship. You're literally not capable. And this is one of the biggest reasons. Because you don't get it that every time I attack my partner, I'm talking to me. If I can't talk to my partner in a way that helps them to really hear what I'm saying, where they can go, oh, that's what you've been trying to say? Oh, that's not so bad. I get that. I want that too for myself. I want to grow. I want to get beyond that. Only when your partner really hears you, when I use skills and they finally get it, who gets it for the first time? Me. As long as I keep talking to my partner in a way that they feel criticized, attacked, put down, judged, blamed, shamed, whatever, I'm the one who never gets higher ground. That's what mirrors are for. Now, guess what this is? It's a magic wand. And I'm going to give it to one person. So, without coming up here to the front, just sitting where you're sitting, I need one person to volunteer. Who wants to volunteer to do an exercise with me? Okay. Sean? Okay. So, now which parent did you have the biggest trouble with? Are your parents alive still?
My dad is.
Okay. Did you have much trouble with him?
No, it was more my mom.
Is it more your mom? Okay. Let's pretend like mom is still alive.
Okay.
Okay. And what's the next holiday on the calendar?
Valentine's.
Valentine's. Well, let's say it's Easter or something. The family's going to get together.
Okay.
Okay. And you and your mom start to get into it, and somewhere in the kitchen, right? But this magic wand, once I give it to you, all you got to do is tap her on the shoulder, and she will absolutely transform. Like, she'll be different. She won't be the way you remember when you guys used to butt heads, right? She'll be open. She won't be defensive. She will absolutely transform. Okay? So now I give you the magic wand, and now you're in the kitchen, and you and her start to get into it, right? And you go, hey, I've got my magic wand. So you just kind of, when your mom turns her back, you just kind of tap her on the shoulder. All of a sudden she turns around and she's like, wait a minute, Sean, you know what? I think what you're saying could really do me some good. Do me a favor, say that again, because I think you're saying something that could really help me. And you say it again, and she listens, and she's open, she's not defensive, right? And then she goes, you know what, Sean, my whole life, I think I made a huge mistake. Whenever you fell down, made a mistake, went off the rails, I was there like white on rice to point out what you did wrong. And I don't want to do that anymore. And I felt the same way. Like if I screwed up or messed up, you were kind of there to let me know I wasn't doing it right. And instead of that, I want to have a coaching relationship. I want to feel like if I fall down, make a mistake, you're there to let me know, hey, it's not so bad. A little to the left, a little to the right, make a correction. You can do this. And I want you to feel the same way. I want us to be like good coaches for each other, to really help each other. Right? That would be a nice magic wand, huh?
Yeah.
Where can I buy that?
You know, isn't how I'm role playing, isn't that how your relationships go right now? Isn't that how you talk to your relationships and how your relationships talk to you?
No.
here's the good news. Friday afternoon, I'm going to do a demonstration with a couple in front of the room. And I'm going to demonstrate this magic wand. Because this magic wand is now on the planet. Like I said at the beginning of the night, less than 1% of the planet even knows that these tools exist. Once you have the ability to truly communicate, and here's the good news. Those people in your life that act like they don't want to listen, they don't want to hear it, it's the last thing on earth they want to do is hear what you have to say. They don't get to vote. Once I have the magic wand, you can get through to them on the most important subjects in a win-win way. Now, what happens once you do get through? You have a stage 4 relationship. Now, in stage 4, when you really, here's how a relationship is designed. My partner gets upset with me, and on Friday I'm going to teach you what's called coaching communication. So my partner says, "Hey, Gare, can we have a coaching conversation?" And I go, "Sure." So then she goes, "I've got an upset going on, but I want to clear it up. I want to get it out of the way. So will you coach me how to say this?" Then I coach her how to say it. I learn how to take the insult out of it, so I stop hearing the insult that I'm hearing in it. I remove the insult. Then I tell her, "This is how I'd like to hear what you're saying." And she says it the way I'd like to hear it. Now I can hear it the way I can hear her message the way I would like to hear it. And she gets through. Now what happens to both of us? We both take a step up to higher ground. Now I have an upset, we do the same thing, we both go to higher ground. Now she has an upset, we both go to higher ground. So the process of continually communicating and getting through and getting to higher ground has a promise for you. As we finally recognize, as others finally recognize who we finally recognize who we are. As we forgive them, we are forgiven. As my partner is healed, I am healed. Until we learn to get through to them, we rob ourselves of our own forgiveness, resolution, and healing. And the promise of relationship is that we both wake up to our own mission, purpose, and destiny. And we realize our mission, purpose, and destiny. Okay, time for you to get a partner and share any thoughts or feelings with your partner. Go.
I'm stuck on that last one. As we heal, they heal. They heal together. As we awaken that fire, we discover we're entangled with tension. And we have to focus more on if you're worried about arguing with your wife, worrying about that, you're turning your energy back to oh yeah, whatever the purpose is, whatever it is that you want, you have fun because you don't have to you're constantly back. I think if when you communicate, instead of talking about, and then you would have a lot of people talking, and then we would have so much time. Because then all of a sudden, once that was done, there it's sort of like her purpose, what she wants to do, or what I would do, or you're supposed to do, so she wanted to We're traveling. I said, yes, you want to do something. We're not. And by the time I got to the point where you did, then you should fix it. You have to be on that thing. Whatever. She good job. My car. When I was a kid, I knew that I had to
Okay. Any questions? Raise your hand. I'll call on you.
I just want to clarify that the practice is.
Quiet. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I need the room to be quiet. Even when you think you're whispering, people hear it subconsciously. So please go ahead.
So the setup for that practice is when we're in conflict, right? It's when I'm trying to share a message with you, you're not hearing it, I'm attacking you, you're getting defensive, we're not making any progress. The example is for when we're in conflict in a relationship. Is that true?
Which part of it is?
That we're practicing not just communication, but communication when we're in a situation or relationship where there's conflict.
I understand, but I don't know which part you're trying to relate to that.
Isn't that the point of the exercise? To practice.
Which exercise?
The one we just did.
Coaching communication.
Oh, coaching communication.
Yeah.
Conflict resolution.
Yes,
Getting
it's when
clarity,
you have a
clarification.
conflict.
Yes.
Because if they're kind of like when there's not a conflict or a problem, it's kind of like if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
Communication.
It was just the
Coaching
clarification that
communication is
coaching
about
communication is resolving.
dealing with the resolving the conflict. That's right.
Thank you.
Okay, acknowledge. So, question?
I don't know that it's a question as much as I'd kind of like you to go a little deeper in the
Okay.
last thing you said about discovering your purpose as you
Mission,
get
destiny.
aligned and yeah.
Okay.
It was like a mic drop for me and I got stuck right there.
I got it.
So you're saying when you're in a great relationship, you're always they speak how you want them to speak to you. Or they
You
tell
teach them
you teach them
how to talk to you.
Okay.
The function of all relationships, not just love life, but all relationships, friends, parents, whatever, is higher ground. Rising ascension, transcendence, whatever you want to call it.
There's dual inspiration too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's the point of any mirror, set of mirrors, is to keep rising each other to higher ground. Okay. Very rare couples ever get to that stage 3 or stage 4 relationship because they really think that my partner is the problem, that bozo here is the problem. And because they don't get out of that paradigm, they can't really grow to higher ground. But the promise of growth to higher ground is absolutely the purpose of being in the physical realm, which is to show up and shine and be the gift you came to be. In other words, if you were to keep growing, it would be impossible not to get there. That's your destiny. That's what you're meant for. You came to learn what you came to teach.
Can you get to the 6%?
What?
Can you get to the 6%?
Yeah.
Want to get past that 5%, Gary, real bad.
Yeah, believe me, when you use more than 5%, you don't want to be on Earth.
I won't be.
Not that your takeout places aren't lovely, but there are many more exciting destinations for smarter people. You know what? Just because you asked that question, after I do my first little setup for the next process, I'll do some advanced level material that I usually would save for the Movement to Mastery coaches. So yeah, I'll do it after this part. Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go into the highlight of the night called the greatest key to influence. Now I want you to know that in your lifetime, what you can be, what you can do, and what you can have will greatly depend on one key ability, your ability to influence. So that's what I'm going to teach you now, the greatest key to influence. Are you ready for an exercise?
Sure.
Now I want you to know, I want to remind you, nobody has to participate. Only if you're brave enough and safe enough, you can go ahead and participate, okay? Now, in the first round, I'm going to have you stand up. Now, without going into too much detail, I want you to know that when you understand neuro-linguistic programming, or what's called NLP, what made Tony Robbins famous, you understand that your brain looks at either pictures or thoughts or feelings. And so because your brain operates in different ways when you're standing up, when you're sitting down, or when you're lying down. Like there are several processes at the retreat I do where they lie down on mats or pads or whatever, because that's a different access to your brain. There's times in this workshop when most of the time I have you sit down during a visualization, whatever, but there's times when standing up is absolutely the best way to do it. So if I say, do me a favor and stand up, that's a really good suggestion, okay? So in a moment, I'm going to have you stand up. I'm going to have you go around the room, and you're going to, when I blow the whistle, you're going to stop, and you're going to be in front of somebody. You're going to get a partner, whoever's around you, and you're going to introduce yourself to whoever's in front of you as whichever parent pushed your emotional buttons the most. And you're going to slightly exaggerate them. You know what I mean? Like if your dad was a know-it-all, you're going to lift your nose up and hi, E equals MC squared. Don't touch me, dude. Or if your mom was like a tragedy queen, you're going to walk up to people and go, oh, have you got a couple of hours so let me tell you all the drama that's in my life? Okay? You're going to imitate one of your parents as you introduce yourself. You all get it? And then I'm going to blow the whistle, and I really need you to stop on a dime. Literally just don't even finish your sentence. Then I'll have you close your eyes and notice some things. And then I'll do the next exercise. You got it? Okay. Stand up, go around the room. When I blow the whistle, stop in front of anybody that's in front of you. If you're participating, you want to do it standing up. Okay, grab a partner and introduce yourself as one of your parents. Go.
Hi, my name's Pete.
Okay, close your eyes. Now, I want you to look inside and see how that feels. Now, without opening your eyes, just call out adjectives that describe what you saw in your parent. Both of you at the same time. Okay. Now you're going to walk around the room again, and this time when I blow the whistle, grab someone around you, and you're going to do the opposite of what you just did. You're going to actually introduce yourself as you, but you're going to be present. You're going to introduce yourself by being really present with whoever's in front of you. Okay, go.
Hi. My name is Charles.
Okay, introduce yourself to somebody around you by being really present. Make authentic contact with them. Close your eyes. Now ask yourself how that feels. Good. Now in a moment, I'm going to have you walk around the room, and I'm going to have you introduce yourself to whoever, it doesn't matter who. Only whoever you introduce yourself to is going to be a long lost, one of your best friends that you haven't seen in a long time, and you just bumped into him on surprise. Ready? Go. Now close your eyes. What do you notice? How you feel? Now ask yourself, which of these three is how you want to be with people. Have a seat. Now get a piece of paper and a pen out. We're going to answer the question, what is it that makes a person of great influence? A person who commands great influence and persuasion. So to do that, you're going to write down on your piece of paper, who were the people who had the greatest positive influence in your life? You want to put at least 5 or 6 of them. You can write down parents, teachers, coaches, or heroes from history, the Bible, comic books, because even those people that you've never met might have had a very positive influence on you. You know, for me, it was John Lennon, who I never met. It was Jesus, who I never met. It was Superman, who I never met. Or Joan of Arc, who I never met. 5 or 6 names. You can have more than that if you want. Have at least 5 or 6. Whoever had the most positive influence. Good. You can keep writing if you want. I'm going to ask you some questions. What would you imagine might be these people's perception of you? For example, how would you imagine that they would perceive your possibilities? How would you imagine that they would recognize your strengths, gifts, and talents? How would you imagine that they would accept your mistakes? How would you imagine that they would encourage your dreams? Based on how you're answering that, I'm going to make a proposal. I propose that the single greatest key to influence is to recognize and to speak to one's highest nobility. To speak to the best in people. It's the ability to perceive those you want to influence beyond their personality flaws or weaknesses, beyond their mistakes and failures, and perceive their best, highest, and most noble self. Now, Sean asked me a great question, so I'm going to do some advanced material, stuff that I would typically save for the Movement to Mastery coaches, the most advanced program I have. When you become a master at slowing down, at being centered, present in your body, you can learn how to flow. You can learn how to go in your consciousness where it is true for you to go. You can relax enough to truly follow your passion. And by being authentic, you can learn how to truly be here now. Honoring your truth is the single greatest truth to be successful or happy. If you can learn how to be authentic and truly flow, you can not only travel your soul, you can catch the enormous wave of love and light that is now on the planet. More than ever before in human history, this huge wave will catapult you higher than any generation before you. If you can learn to slow down and be present and truly follow your passion. Thanks for asking the question.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to do what's called a strength shower. I'm going to choose one very lucky person to come up to the front of the room. And starting with some of my, people who know how to do this, we're going to acknowledge that person. We're going to basically tell them what we recognize as their gifts, strengths, and talents, and what we perceive that they can be, do, or have in their future. And most of you will probably not know this person. So when you see how my people do it, you can raise your hand and jump in there and take some wild guesses and find out that your intuition is hugely right on the money. So every time I do this, whoever gets chosen to do this exercise in front of the room, it's not untypical for them to call me up years later and tell me how that changed their life for the better. So, if you want to be the person who takes it on the chin and finds out how wonderful you are, then I want you to stand up. I've got 10. Do I have 11? I've got 11. Do I have 12? 13, 14, 15. I love it that some of my grads are standing up going, I want more. Feed me, Seymour. For those of you who know movies. Okay, Melissa, come on up. Acknowledge her. Okay, stand here, and I need you to spread your feet bigger than your shoulders so you don't sway your hips and then dissipate the energy, okay? So, you don't say anything, you don't respond, you just take it in, okay? So if you know how to do this, raise your hand, I'll call on you, and then we'll show them an example of how it's done, okay? Raise your hand. Okay, Shelley.
Melissa, I see you as an angel, full of love and light and playfulness. I think you are so much fun and you're such a gift to this world.
Beautiful. Now, for everybody who shares, I'm going to have you write down the essence or important part of what you said so we can show them later another part of this. Okay? Good. Somebody else, raise your hand. I'll call on you. Okay, Nico.
Melissa, I feel like you are very comfortable to be around, fun to talk to and to be with. And make everyone feel important. So you're just special to be around.
Good job. Write it down. Acknowledge. Okay, somebody else? Alice?
I really want to expand on what she said. You're not only just an angel, you're like one of those statues that they see that are standing with a fist, like determined, like nobody gets by me. You have strength and determination, and you have eyes of truth, like nobody gets to lie to you. And on top of that, you are an excellence in compassion.
Beautiful. Write it down. Acknowledge. Okay, Lisa.
You have an elven energy. Like really wise, magical, and beautiful.
Good job. Write it down. Acknowledge. We'll wait till after it's over. And then we'll come. Okay, Jeff.
Melissa, you're a great friend to people. You create this space of safety. You have the ability to see through people, to see their goodness and their brilliance. You also have a magical joy about you that people gravitate to.
Good job. Write it down, Jeff. Acknowledge. Somebody else. Zen.
I actually wanted to echo what Alice and whoever
Shelley.
magical said. So when I look at you, I actually see like Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, and I'm not even a big Game of Thrones person, but what I have seen of her, you're like a warrioress and goddess, and like you have an entire team of dragons that are magical with you. That like when she says you have eyes of truth that don't take any crap anywhere, it's like you are protected always, and everywhere you go, you protect everyone that's around you. You are truly magical.
Acknowledge. Write it down. Anybody else? Okay, go ahead, Tina.
Melissa, what I see in you is a childlike wonder and purity, and a way of looking at life and the world in a way that is still so good, regardless of anything, any evidence. You don't let that stand in the way of your believing that the world is still full of magic and good.
Excellent. Write it down, Tina. Okay, I'm going to have everybody who said something own their projection by basically talking to Melissa, but using your first name so that everybody can see that it might be true for Melissa, but it's definitely true for whoever said it. Okay? Good. Go ahead, Shelley.
Shelley, you are an angel, full of love and light and playfulness. You are so much fun, and you are a gift to this world.
See, now can you look at her and see that's the truth about Shelley?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Acknowledge. Somebody else. Anybody else? Nico.
I went next, and I didn't write it down fast enough. But this is what I got. Melissa, you are.
No, Nico.
Oh, Nico. Nico, you are so fun to be around. You make everyone feel comfortable, and you're so accepting of everyone.
There was another piece.
It was like,
Yeah, and I forgot it.
it was,
Oh, maybe that make people feel safe.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Good job. Acknowledge. Somebody else. Okay, Elisa.
Elisa, you have elven energy. You're wise, beautiful, and magical. Guilty.
Good job. Now you can comment.
I have Cinder and Elvish, as in Lord of the Rings, tattooed on my arm.
I couldn't see that from here. I just
Yep. Well, it was covered. And going to Zen, I have a phrase called "Goddesses and Queens," both Khaleesi, tattooed on my arm as well. And I just want to say, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
We're going to keep going with the projections. Who else said something to her?
Alice.
Alice?
Alice, you're not only an angel, you are like a fierce, determined, warrior type angel who stands with a fist and nobody gets by you. You have eyes of truth and you are an excellence in compassion.
Beautiful. Acknowledge. Who else? Who else said something to her, Jeff?
I don't think I got it all down. Jeff, you're an amazing friend to people. You create this space of safety. You have a joy that people gravitate towards, and you can perceive the depths of people's souls and understand them.
Beautiful. Acknowledge. Jeff, out of curiosity, did he hear you?
I'm still taking it in. I gotta read that again.
Yeah. Yeah, do your best to let it in. Because what you just said is really the truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay, Zen.
Then what I actually see is Khaleesi, a warrioress. You have a team of dragons around you and you don't take any crap. You see through the eyes of truth and you're always protected and you protect those around you. You are truly magical.
Beautiful. Acknowledge. Tina?
Tina, when I see me, I have a sense of
No,
purity.
talk to Tina like she's up here.
Tina, you have a sense of purity, innocence, childlike wonder, and no matter what evidence to the contrary, you always believe in the magic of life.
Acknowledge. I think you get that about yourself. Yeah, and just keep in mind that that's what everybody gets about you.
Thank
That's why they like hanging out with you.
you. Thank you.
Good job. Okay, any last thing you want to say before we acknowledge you one last time?
So, a statement that I draw power from that is tattooed on my arm is, I hold within me the power of goddesses and queens. Ladies, you hold the same. Men, you hold within you the power of gods and kings. Remind yourselves of that every day.
Good job.
And thank you.
I love those people who just can't help but say their message. You know? Like she just couldn't get off the front of the room without saying
Say the
her
message.
what she came to learn, what she came to teach.
Great.
Okay, now I need anybody who's in Movement to Mastery or has been through Movement to Mastery who's brave enough or safe enough to be a small group leader to stand up and get around the room. Or if you've been through the awakening, just stand up. If you that's you, get around the room. Okay. You can have a seat, honey. Now I want you to know, you guys need to spread out, okay? Good. I want you to know these people can only have 3 people each. So you want to get them while they're hot. Go.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Nobody wants
If you don't have 3 people with you, raise your hand so I can send them to you.
Sexy with your husband by your side.
Okay? That group behind you doesn't have 3 people yet. You want to Go ahead. Okay, everybody, make a circle. Make a circle with your small group with chairs. Go. You can't use the black chairs against the wall. You got to use other chairs. Yes, use those chairs. Thank you. Alice, who was in your group?
I just took Mary over there.
Okay.
Everybody's got 4, right?
No.
You got 3?
Okay, let me show you how this is going to go. The small group leader is going to start with the person on their left. And so, for example, in this group here, Elisa will start with Nathan. She will, is it Nathan? Jonathan. Okay, good. She will acknowledge Jonathan, and then Cole will acknowledge Jonathan, and then Melissa will acknowledge Jonathan, and I'll keep going around the circle until I blow the whistle or ring the bell. You get what I'm saying? Okay? So, even though you feel like you don't know how to do this, all you got to do, quiet, all you got to do is take wild guesses and start with whatever's obvious. And as you start participating, you'll find out you actually do know how to do this. You didn't know you knew how to do this. Okay? Now, I'm going to go around to all the new people, and I'm going to invite them to see if they want a higher self reading from me. And I'll give them a real short and sweet one if they want one. Okay? Now, I will tell you that my experience is that the spirit realm is like the negative of a photograph. So, example, if you're in the spirit realm and in that realm you're the essence of unconditional love, you might pick a family and a bloodline that is the opposite of unconditional love. You might pick a family and bloodline that is like judgmental, righteous, prejudiced, whatever, okay? In that realm, if you're the essence of freedom, you might pick a family that is constrained and restricted and bound up. You get what I'm saying? So we all pick battles that are the opposite of who we really are. So if you want me to give you a higher self reading, I'll come around all the circles and invite somebody. When I come to your circle, please do me a favor and let me interrupt you so that I can get to as many people as I can in the time I have. Okay? Okay. Stay on the same person until we ring the bell. Do not go around the circle. Stay on the same person until I ring the bell. Okay? Go.
I say, why not?
Are you starting on the right? Oh, you're responsible. Yeah. Did you want me to give you?
Oh my God. Give me more time. Give me. Oh wait, I'm the last person.
keep going, so she'll go now.
They might be able to go onto the side and do like a border.
Oh, we go around the
Have you ever seen one of
Yeah.
these? Right, right, no.
Okay, so,
We're going in. That's it, right? But it's not just powerful being you are. Like you have that mic before, like it's not enough. You're a little guy. Like the whole thing is not injustice. Nuts. So
I see that. Oh yeah, I see that.
First of all, there's nothing wrong with that.
Acknowledge a person. Okay, go to the next person, the person right in front of the small group leader. Go.
How do you do that?
You guys don't mind having both of them?
Sure. It's not like the other
They follow you. I mean, they like you guys. But because you're so with everything, you want to have a family and love like the ugly duckling, the one outcast, you know, like out of the system, not included, you know, like that is something different about you or weird or whatever. So you feel kind of you were trying to say there's something wrong with you. Like your spirit is like
That's your goodness, that's your nobility. Thank you. That's what you try to. And you didn't go to cinema. Okay, good. That's fine. I'm trying to get all the people who I have to
But they don't wear I found that.
What's your name? Chara? Shara. Acknowledge the person. Okay, for the groups that have 4, you're going to go on to the next person. For the group here that has 3, you're going to go around the circle and you're going to tell each other what you most love about yourself. Okay? Okay, go! Or the third person. Because one of them there's also fierceness. Was a lot of from people like that. Guided thousands of people, which is who you could affect and Be ready to have somebody make a list of who everything's going to know tonight. Acknowledge the person. Okay, everybody, please do me a favor, quickly and quietly, come back to the bigger circle. Quickly and quietly. Quickly and quietly come back to the bigger circle.
At my house,
Okay, I will take a share from anybody who had a positive experience. Raise your hand and I'll call on you. Okay, Allie.
So at first I was super nervous because I'm still a newbie in this stuff. So I was super nervous. But once we all got in a circle together and just like integrated each other, it was so easy to read them and just like look into their souls. And then as I got more comfortable, I felt they get more comfortable. And then the circle just flowed beautifully. It was awesome. It was cool.
Far out, way to go. Acknowledge. Okay, Angela.
The little one over here, she's amazing. She was just coming up with stuff just like that. No, unencumbered. Totally unencumbered.
Yeah.
Look, don't take that. Don't take it back.
Acknowledge.
Take it back.
And all the kids coming through right now are coming through with such amazing gifts. Good job. Melissa.
I was interested to see and notice sorry, words are hard. The insights that I saw. So like when I would look at someone and I would see something and just walking past them on the street, you wouldn't look at that. But when you look at someone, the truths you see come up in them without them ever having said two words to you is just fascinating. And then in turn, if you know someone, hearing them say something to that person and also seeing it within them, that was fascinating to watch.
Yeah,
That was
it
fascinating.
is. How many of you picked up on the projections that they were saying to each other?
Yeah.
Good job. Anybody else? Okay.
I forget. Nico, okay. One thing, and I didn't get to tell you this, but so I'm a writer, and like this one phrase keeps coming up in my mind again and again when it comes to like referring to myself. And she said, "You're a truth seeker." And I call it, like, in my mind, I call myself the truth seeker, and other people have said that as well. So that was.
She picked right up on it.
Yeah.
Good job.
And
Way
then
to
what
go.
you said as well about the sorceress, that was like dead on.
Yes. Good job. Acknowledge. Oh, I need to have Alice let me know who's going to be doing the thing early tomorrow. Okay. Find Alice and find out who's going to be the one that's going to be here early tomorrow to handle the new people. Any other shares? Okay. If you're here just for tonight as a guest, I hope you do yourself a huge favor and let yourself sign up or enroll, because you will be convinced by the end of this weekend that it's the best decision you've ever made. Okay. Now, how many of you believe you have someone in your life that you think might join us tomorrow night if we can have them catch up by coming an hour early and having one of our facilitators take them through stuff? Okay? Raise your hand if you think you have somebody that might want to jump in with us tomorrow. Okay? Go ahead and put your name or whatever on the board, honey. Okay. So everybody do me a favor. In case you think of somebody tonight or tomorrow, please write down Alice's phone number so that if somebody pops into your head and you go, oh my goodness, I think they might want to join us, you can call Alice and let her know, because she's going to come an hour early, about 5:15, and you want to have them be here by 5:15 so she can take them through some of what we did tonight, the most important parts. Okay,
What
Jody?
if they can't do the whole thing? They have to kind of skip around. And what if they're not open schedule wise to come to the rest of it? They have to
Well,
miss a
whatever
day.
part they missed, they just have to watch it on video.
Okay. All right.
Make sure that your person, if you think of somebody and they want to come, they call Alice to let her know. Because if nobody calls her, then she won't have to come early. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Now, I gave you very quick higher self readings tonight. The people who are new. If any of those people who are going to be in the workshop, if you're planning on being in the workshop and you would like a more in-depth higher self reading from me, I'm going to let you sign up either tonight or tomorrow night or Friday night. I'll do 2 tonight, I'll do 3 tomorrow night, and 3 on Friday night. So as soon as we break, go sign up with Michelle and let her know that you want to have a more in-depth higher self reading from me. Okay? Good. No expectation, just if you're curious. Okay, everybody. And I'm going to go to Applebee's tonight so we can get a nibble. And Applebee's does half-price appetizers after 9 o'clock, so you don't have to worry about your budget. And if you want to join us, even if you're not getting a higher self-reading from me, just do me a favor so I can tell them how many people to expect. Just raise your hand if you want to join us so I know what to tell them. Okay? Anybody else besides Elisa? Okay, Kevin, Sean, Angela. Okay, good. I'll tell them 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll tell them 8. Okay, everybody. Zen?
I'm gonna collect your name tags, so if you would please take them off and take the strings and stuff them in the Thank you.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
Come on, that.
Tomorrow I would probably tomorrow night. Friday.
When I came outside, my car was. Did you go? I was the only one.
She's fine. Tight. So she didn't control.
I didn't know that.
Cool. Thank you so much, Shelley. Good. Bye.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
By the way, everybody, if you're joining us at Applebee's, you want to leave fairly soon because they won't let you in after 11.
Take it out. Oh, yeah, no.
Honey.
Are you guys gonna go to West
Snow out? Snowing outside? I can't see from here. Just don't do it. The worst one. Worst.
So, Emily.
It's that. Send it back. Right back. I know.
I mean, maybe I don't know. Am I gonna see you again? Yeah, tomorrow. I'm so excited. I can't wait. You look familiar. Because she's gonna be our girl. Yeah, I'm so excited. Thanks for being here, Trisha. She's awesome. Like, I know. She's like mine too. I'm like, please put your like on my I just had to like touch her. Oh, I had to like feel her. It was awesome.
A baby tray in the fridge. Take your prices.
Okay. Let me know about okay, you've got to process this. If not, I have to Oh, that's true. It works so well. You're like, wow. Well, I just left it on the table. I just left it on the table in the kitchen. Nobody touched it. Because I didn't know what whatever you did, you're doing it. I know. You need a man. I'm on my way. I'm on my stuff. My fever's out there. Good. Are you doing it? Yes. Yes. Well, yeah, of course.
I went to some stuff and was like,
I knew that come in for short amount of time. This one today is
I love them. I
yeah.
do.
So if I get kicked out, so if anybody that's all I
I was actually so grateful to see her, but I'm kind of
And maybe it's ask yourself why that's coming up quick, because it's like I recognize him.
not wasted this I wanted to invite people from
And one of those handouts how to get that get out of my way, you're in my way. If I ask you, what did you say? You're in my way here. This is yours. Yours is like quick pace of work. I guess. Yes, I do. Can you tell me what you're going to say? Because he will either go blank, because he didn't listen, or he's going to go, something about something. And then you can also tell him to you how much you're going to change after time, maybe 1 year-old kid. So if he's ignoring, it's either habitual, or it's because it's you, or whatever. You know, don't assume it, but just recognize when it's because when you start to play this, it's like faster than what you do. He knows he's going to get out. So he will listen. That's right. So if you start to play this game, what you say, he's just listening to you. But she doesn't want to be when you're like, wait, it's going to come to this Just saying, you're like, this is why I'm asking. Yes. It's already got my shield, already got his shield. Alright, so we can't. Okay, so his head basically speeding. Okay, which you can
Those things are coming on board. She's like, she checked in with the application. She's like, if the command general loves to say morning gets right.
And you're saying, don't touch your job.
And she's like,
This is the way to sidestep him expecting you to be. Because in my relationship, my partner is like there. Totally different breed from but if they were like their dad, they would be and so I would, fortunately, I have a partner. So we know what you like said, because I can see you're over there. What? Oh, well. And I didn't say that at all. But whatever I said made them have the feeling for it was a feeling. And here's the voice that I heard. That's the voice I'm gonna hear. It's who I was. See, so because we have reactive, we're all reactive, and we all have shields, and later on, if we decide to do but right now, it's pretty much it's aware of another person's state.
That's the cutest job.